In today's video, I'm going to be picking every single opening bowl week bowl game and the Army-Navy game, with bowl week officially getting kicked off tomorrow with the Army-Navy game, which is one of the great traditions of college football. And uniquely, there's going to be a bowl game actually that same day. In fact, there's going to be two of them. So we'll talk about those. We'll pick those games. We'll pick every game that happens in opening bowl week, short of the college football playoff games. Next week, I'll be doing my college football playoff bracket and talking about that. But I think it's very appropriate to continue to talk about these bowl games and treat these bowl games with respect, and call me old-fashioned. I like bowl games, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily love them anymore, but we're going to pick all of them using our very own graphic as we did last time. Playoff Predictors, that beautiful website during the regular season, has all our games for us, but not during the postseason. So we're going to start with Army versus Navy. Army opens as a 6.5-point favorite in this one, and some of you might think that spread is a little small. Army's been a fantastic team this year. Navy has been great as well, but has had a few more lapses, but I think that's an appropriate line. Army has and Navy have had a one-score result in 8 of the last 10 matchups. So I think regardless of what these teams are looking like going into this game, Vegas is always going to be pretty conservative on that spread. And what I love about this game is it is almost never about football, and it's what makes it so glorious. It is something that cannot be replicated by any other sport or anything else, and it's one of the things that makes college football so great is seeing this game, and it just feels like everyone's got a dog in the fight. Army has the edge recently. 6 of the last 8 have gone Army after that really long Navy streak they had in there, and I think Army, on paper, in reality, in between the white lines, is clearly the better team. Their wins over Tulane and UTSA this year, late in the season, were very impressive, and I don't think Navy has anything on their resume quite as impressive as that, but you will never catch me picking Army. I'm going to pick Navy every single year until the day I die. So like I said, almost has nothing to do with football. Go Navy, beat Army. That is my pick in this game. And so let's get to the Celebration Bowl, which is another one of my favorites just because it's two conferences at the FCS level that have decided, hey, we're going to make the Celebration Bowl our prize at the end of the season. And people just respect it, and it happens, and I love that. So we got Jackson State versus SC State. SC State, a slight favorite in this one, and Jackson State has been this game 3 of the last 4 years. Obviously, Coach Prime was there a couple of seasons, and I think the thing that people have slowly probably forgotten about is the fact that Jackson State lost both of those games under Coach Prime, and one of them, they got absolutely dog-walked by SC State. So here's SC State. They're back here again. They've had a really, really strong season this season, and I think they're going to take care of business. I think they're a lot more substance over flash. I know a lot of people are going to be picking Jackson State in this game, specifically because they know there's the Coach Prime connection. I hear people talking about them not leaving, the cupboard empty there and all that stuff. But I really like SC State in this game, and I know that they're the slight favorite, but it really feels like they're the underdog with all the buzz Jackson State is getting in that football game. So give me SC State to win the Celebration Bowl, which would be their second win in this game in 4 seasons, which would be really awesome for that program. We get to the Salute to Veterans Bowl. This is the other official bowl game that is the same day as the Army-Navy game. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It is nice. It's a little later in the day. They do at least give the Army-Navy game some room to breathe, but this is a side effect of the 12-team playoff, the bowl season getting condensed a little, getting shifted around, and at the end of the day, I don't think it's anything too crazy. I'm not too hung up on it, but it is South Alabama versus Western Michigan. South Alabama opening as an 8.5-point favorite. And really what this comes down to, and I think the spread reflects that, is that South Alabama is intact. West Virginia's roster, not very intact at this point. And I think even at full strength this year, South Alabama was consistently the better team throughout the season. Gio Lopez, a star in the making. We saw several electric performances from him this season, and he's coming back, which is great. Great news as he's playing. And I just think Major Applewhite's done a lot of good stuff at South Alabama in his first year. They finished 6-6. They could have won a couple extra games. There was a few close ones in there. They totally could have pulled out, and they got some nice wins throughout the season. So I like South Alabama in this game. I think they're going to get a nice win to end the season and continue to build momentum under Major Applewhite. And for Western Michigan, season kind of unraveled in front of them as it went, and I just think they're missing too many key guys in this game. I don't think that squad's going to be able to handle the bright lights of the Veterans Bowl in this one. So give me South Alabama to get the win. We'll get a little bit of water break in here. It's all one take, so if I get dehydrated, gotta hydrate. We get to the Boca Raton Bowl. Western Kentucky versus James Madison. James Madison, a 9.5-point favorite here. And this one, on paper, you look at it and you see, yeah, there's some roster turmoil happening with both of these guys. Caden Veltkamp declared he's in the transfer portal. Alonzo Barnett, the third, will likely be out of this game as well. So James Madison and Western Kentucky going to be a little bit handicapped offensively, but really just based on how the season panned out down the stretch, I trust James Madison's ability to manufacture offense just a little bit more. Western Kentucky was really disappointing down the stretch with their offensive output, and even in their bright spots late in the year, like that win on the road versus Jacksonville State, or I guess they were home for that one with the last-second field goal, their offense was disappointed, only put up 19 points in that one. So Western Kentucky has been a little bit disappointing down the stretch. I don't think they're playing very well right now, and I think James Madison is going to win. James Madison seeking their first bowl victory ever. So this would be their first ever bowl victory, a huge milestone for the program, and just their second bowl game last year when they made one. They lost it. So this would get them to 1-1 all-time in bowl games, and I think it would be a pretty big deal for this program. So I like James Madison to go and do that in the Boca Raton Bowl. We've got the Frisco Bowl between Memphis and West Virginia. Memphis opens as a short favorite, a 5-point favorite. West Virginia, the elephant in the room, is Neil Brown fired after that blowout loss to Texas Tech to end the season. They've had a slight portal exodus, not anything as bad as what you would think, but definitely some guys entering the portal, but still relatively intact. But I just think Memphis is playing damn good football right now. They're a team that I think has fulfilled their potential down the stretch here, and 10-2, a top 25 team, that's really cool for Memphis. They definitely wish they could have just avoided choking against UTSA, or just avoided that loss earlier in the season that they took. And so I think they finally fulfilled the potential and what they were capable of. They were my playoff pick out of the group of 5 this year. Didn't happen, but I think they'll win this one, get a solid power conference victory, finish with 11 wins. And I don't think this is by any means a Mickey Mouse power conference victory. West Virginia's got some dudes that will be playing. So I think it's a legitimate win for Memphis if they get it. And I just think a little bit of the dysfunction without head coach Neil Brown will be one of the reasons West Virginia loses this game. But obviously a lot of optimism for the future with the Mountaineers getting Rich Rodriguez back. So that's something they have to look forward to at the very least. With how backwards the calendar is, it's kind of crazy. That's what we're talking about right now. So we get to the LA Bowl. Cal versus UNLV. Cal, a 1.5-point favorite in this one. And this is a matchup that we have seen before. Cal has had a few tough portal losses. Fernando Mendoza, Neziah Hunter, their top receiving threat, and some key depth pieces, especially along the offensive line. They've had those guys go to the portal, so they're going to rely on some other guys that they weren't relying on throughout the season. What's a little bit concerning is that Chandler Rogers still battling through a nagging injury, so that means CJ Harris, who is very young and inexperienced, will probably be the guy that starts for Cal football. So Cal's going to be battling through a lot. They still do have some playmakers like Jay Knott playing, and I think Cal was playing really well down the stretch. They had a close loss to Syracuse, a loss to SMU down the stretch, and outside of that, they won some really nice games. But UNLV, I just think, was also playing well. Yes, they looked dejected versus Boise State, but some of that could have been the Barry Odom 1 foot out the door stuff. He takes the job at Purdue immediately after that game, essentially. And so when I look at that result, I think that's probably an outlier. I think UNLV will be playing unified. A lot of their players getting up to play in this bowl game. I think the seniors are going to step it up. I think they're going to get a nice senior send-off, and UNLV will get the victory over Cal in the LA Bowl as an underdog. So I think UNLV clutches up. We've got the New Orleans Bowl, Georgia Southern versus Sam Houston. Georgia Southern, a 6-point favorite. Both these teams were alive in their conference title race late into the season. And here they are in the New Orleans Bowl. Sam Houston, obviously, in the rougher spot. Losing Casey Keeler was tough. That's a program guy that really helped build what this team is in the FBS right now. And Keeler now going to go be the head coach at Temple. That's a tough way to go down if you're Sam Houston. And I just don't like their chances in this one because I really think Keeler had a lot to do with the turnaround they had this season. Georgia Southern was a significantly better team this season in a significantly deeper conference. And so I really trust them to go out there. And I trust Clay Helton to go out and get a bowl victory in what was a really, really good bounce back season for Georgia Southern in a year where they were pretty close to punching their ticket to the Sun Belt title game. So this will be a good consolation prize for them, and I look forward for them to build to the future, including getting their third-string quarterback, Tyler Budge, eventually into the lineup. That guy's got a fantastic name. So we get to the Cure Bowl as one of the last couple here, Ohio versus Jacksonville State. This is cool because this is like a little sneak peek at what the first round of a group of 5 playoff would look like. We've got the MAC champions, Ohio, versus the CUSA champions, Jacksonville State. Ohio, a field goal favorite right now. The difference here is that Ohio's going to have most of their dudes playing. Jacksonville State is missing a lot. They've got 11 players that have already hit the portal and counting. It's tough. Neither team will have their head coach in this case. Tim Albin leaving Ohio to Charlotte as well. Rich Rod leaving Jacksonville State to West Virginia. However, I think Ohio is a team that's just a little bit more intact. They both looked really good in their conference title victories, obviously, but I just think Ohio is going to be ready for this one. I like Navarro. I'm excited to watch him play in this Cure Bowl, and I think they end the season with one of their best years in school history. I think they get the bowl victory on top of the MAC championship, and then they can say they have a MAC and CUSA title in the same year if they get the win over Jacksonville State. So that'd be a pretty cool thing. But on the flip side, if Jacksonville State wins this one, talk about a huge year for them, the biggest year in their program's history as well. So both really cool stories, and I like Ohio in this one. We'll see if they continue to be the team of prophecy, according to the Lisan Al-Gaib, Timothy Chalamet. Finally, we've got the Gasparilla Bowl, the final bowl of this opening bowl week. It's actually the same day as the first playoff game between Notre Dame and Indiana, but like I said, we're not picking the playoffs here. That will be next week. Definitely going to give bowl season a chance to shine here. So Tulane versus Florida will definitely be overshadowed by next week when people are talking about that, but I'm going to talk about it here. Florida, a 2-touchdown favorite in this one. I definitely think a lot of people are all in on Florida for this game, and there's no reason not to be. Florida was super hot at the end of the season. They're going to have Lagway playing. They're going to have a lot of their guys that led to that success down the stretch. Elijah Badger getting healthy. I don't think there's any reason he won't be playing in this one. But on the flip side, Tulane does keep John Summerall around, which I think is huge for them going forward. Could give them a little bit of a boost in this game, getting the locker room rallying around him. They're up to play an SEC opponent that maybe has some guys that aren't fully checked in, but losing Darian Mensah, losing Ty Thompson, those are both pretty brutal blows to Tulane in this game because they're going to be trusting Kai Horton to boost this team and boost this offense. The offense has been all right recently, but it's the other side of the football that really concerns me as a mismatch. I don't think Tulane's defense is ready at all for this Florida offensive attack that has been one of the key driving forces in this recent winning streak. I really think Florida's going to eat them alive, and I'm going to think they're going to hum and they're going to win this game. So I like Florida beat Tulane and win the Gasparilla Bowl, and which would be an 8-win season for Florida, which is pretty interesting because of how tough that schedule was to still pull that out. I really think there's some momentum building for the Florida Gators right now, and a tough end of the season for Tulane, but still absolutely blew expectations out of the water for a year one team under John Summerall. They were in the American Conference title game, which I think is ahead of what they even expected to happen. So that is my pick for the Gasparilla Bowl, and there it is, all 9 games from opening bowl week, the Army-Navy game, and of course the Celebration Bowl up there. Let me know down in the comments who do you think is winning this game and or all these games, and let me know if maybe there's an opt-out that happened last second that I didn't catch. Hopefully not. I hope as many guys can play in this as possible, continue to give value to bowl season. But if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, a lot of you that are watching this video probably think you are subscribed, and then you're going to go check, and you're going to be like, oh, wait, I'm actually not subscribed. So feel free to go do all that when you get a chance, and let me know down in the comments, what are your predictions for all of these games?